From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening across the board, as millions of Americans, no less than 30 million Americans, could see benefits, $1,400 third stimulus checks landing in their bank accounts in the next few days. Incredible progress as Social Security Administration confirms it's delivered data for 30 million Americans in the United States to ensure they get their $1,400 third stimulus check. Help is here, but it has yet to come here. In this video, I'll have the latest statements from the Social Security Administration, the latest statements from the Treasury, the latest statements as the push is underway to get that stimulus out, the $1,400 third stimulus. And what did the Social Security Administration do this week to ensure it comes out quickly? I have all that data as more. Meantime, new video from the White House pushing the third stimulus package. Still questions about what happened to that now deleted video from Treasury about your $1,400 third stimulus. And the president's message this week that millions of other checks are on their way. How many more millions of checks are on the way? It's a big night, and across the board, the incredible hope is that tonight may be the day in which 30 million more checks are sent out, so that they land next Thursday. Will next Thursday be the next third wave for third stimulus checks of $1,400? Meantime, also big news from Ford, tech, and more. I have all these details as we go into a big evening. The big evening's upon us, and tomorrow could be even a bigger day, as we could see the big updates in the IRS tool about our stimulus checks. As we start a big evening, suddenly there's incredible hope that things are getting fixed. This is Evenings LA. It's been a dramatic week, to say nonetheless, but the dramatic week may have ended on a positive note with reassurance that stimulus is on its way. $1,400 third stimulus checks for 30 million Americans are heading out. The question is what day, and is it actually today with a third wave landing next Thursday? Of all those details and more, and is there a question that there might be more than 30 million checks missing? How are ya? Good evening. How's you doing? How is your day? Ready to crush the weekend? Can you imagine it's already the weekend? It is almost already the weekend. We're already into spring and we're almost heading into April. So wow, what an exciting time it is. And the next 24 hours will be exciting because that IRS tool updated itself tomorrow. Wow, you better be with me tomorrow because that will be a big day. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss a minute of recordings across the board. There's a lot of breaking developments, and it's breaking literally every few hours. Have you noticed this week? It's been a jam-packed week of news about your stimulus. I didn't even mention that opening remarks for stimulus. I mean, can you imagine how much is going on? So make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. It helps in the algorithm rankings. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Oh, and by the way, I'm in the live chat with you right now. Say hi. Hi, how are you? I'll say hi back. Say hello to me. I'm in the live chat, and I will be in the live chat on the next video right after this hazard pay in 90 minutes from now. Big exciting news about that $1,400 third stimulus check. Letters after letters, emails after emails, deposit notices after deposit notices. And it all started really perhaps with this channel. We don't know. Perhaps it was with you. On Monday,
it started
Treasury
when
said
Treasury
that the direct deposits
released
would
through
be
the
done
White
by
House
March 24th yesterday.
and released
And if
this
you don't
video
get it by direct
on
deposit,
March
it's in the mail.
24th,
With 30 minutes
new
left
message
for
from
the
Treasury
banking hours on
at
the
the
East
end of
Coast,
March 24th,
saying that your
with half
stimulus
an hour
checks
left
are coming
of
in
the
a few
business
days to
banking
few weeks
hours
by
on the
direct
East
deposit.
Coast.
And that
Over
we
the next
have
few
all the
days to weeks, we're
information
going to start
we
to
need
get
from
some
you.
money
You don't have
in
to
your
do
direct
anything.
deposit accounts.
At the same time,
Viewers
Representative
were shocked.
Neal was saying, no, you don't have all the
Shocked.
information. You have to
And
request
this
the information from
comes
Social
as the
Security
President
and
of
you
the
have
United
not,
States
or Social Security has
has
not
been
requested
going
from you,
across
whatever you
the
want the
country,
tale to be.
not to
The
the
claim
border,
was that no, they
see
didn't
the
have all the
immigrant
information
situation.
they needed. But
So the
Atlanta,
question
to
was,
Las
what
happened? And immediately the letters started flying. And the letters continue to fly, and more letters continue to fly. Well, what happened? What happened was there was a series of letters that were sent to this individual. This is your Social Security administrator. And those series of letters got to him on Wednesday, demanding by Thursday morning you release the files of 30 million Social Security recipients to Treasury. Well, that's what happened. And at 8:30 a.m. Thursday, he released the files of 30 million individuals to Treasury. That signaled a series of news channels to certainly run this title in some of their stories. This was one of the title of one of the stories Friday morning. 30 million Americans may receive $1,400 stimulus checks in their Social Security Administration after Social Security Administration provides payment information to IRS. Well, the question, however, was whether this was the only people who had missing stimulus checks. Viewers of this channel said no. It's far more than this group. Yesterday and the day before, I asked viewers, how many do you think are missing? And they said it was about 50 to 100. This is why. Number one, we know that the number of stimulus checks missing is not limited to people on benefits. Number two, we know it's not limited to people who don't file tax returns. Number three, we know that the universe of stimulus checks not paid is far bigger than the Representative Neal letter. Why? Because over the last few days, I've been asking viewers, and I asked you again today, who is on benefits and who is not on benefits? And it's about 70% on benefits, 30% not on benefits. And that whole universe did not get a stimulus check. So people not on benefits and people on benefits didn't get a stimulus check. Then I asked, who files tax returns? 30% said they filed tax returns, 70% said they didn't file tax returns. Well, if you file tax returns, so Treasury knows where you are. There's no surprise about that. They don't need anything from Social Security because they already know where you are. You file tax returns. I also asked who used the non-filer filing before or who got their first or second stimulus check fine. And they said they got the first and second stimulus check fine. So viewers universally and myself believe that the number of people missing a stimulus check is bigger than Neal is making it and bigger than the news reports are trying to run it with titles like this, 30 million are missing. We believe it's far more. Well, the middle of the week hit when Neal sent that letter and said, you know what, you need to send over the files. And the letter, this was the second of two letters. The letter got a lot of traction, a lot of news. It carried a lot of heat. And dwarfed in the subject matter was this channel's coverage. This channel said, no, it's more than just that's missing. And unfortunately, no broadcast channels reported the news of this channel, which was there's more than just 30 million people on benefits missing a stimulus check. But then came the great news. The great news is that the issue was front and center. When you have an issue, you want to get news coverage for it. This got news coverage for it. This issue got news coverage for it. Whether it's 30 million or 90 million, it got news coverage for it. And whether it's the result of this or result of that, the net result got news coverage. People didn't get their stimulus checks. It got coverage. It got front page coverage. So that was really good. And then it got better. Of course, on Thursday, it got better when 30 million files were delivered from Social Security Administrator to Treasury. And so he got those files out the door. So then the next question is, when he got those files out the door, how soon could the checks go out the door? I'm going to have all those details for you in a second. I'm going to have those new email exchanges or word exchanges between Treasury and Social Security in just a second. But here's a video from the White House yesterday that talked about that millions of checks still need to go out the door. The president addressed a lot of things in his first days in office. And among the things he discussed in his first days of office was the delivery of the doses and the ramping up of the doses. But what he later discusses in his first few minutes in the presidential address, his first ever, was that millions of stimulus checks are still on their way. The question is, how many millions? And with that, We've not gotten a number from Treasury, we've not gotten a number from the White House, or anyone at that level that explains how many stimulus checks are missing. But let's listen in to hear what he had to say.
100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days. We met that goal last week by day 58, 42 days ahead of schedule. Now today I'm setting a second goal, and that is we will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots in people's arms. That's right, 200 million shots in 100 days. I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal, but no other country in the world has even come close, not even close to what we are doing. I believe we can do it. And today, we made a historic investment in reaching the hardest hit and the most vulnerable communities, the highest risk communities, as a consequence of the virus, by investing an additional $10 billion in being able to reach them. I also set a goal before I took office of getting a majority of schools in K through 8 fully open in the first 100 days. Now, thanks to the enormous amount of work done by our administration, educators, parents, local, state education officials, and leaders, recent Department of Education survey shows that nearly half of the K through 8 schools are open now full-time, 5 days a week for in-person learning. Not yet a majority, but we're really close, and I believe in the 35 days left to go, we'll meet that goal as well. As of yesterday, more than 100 million payments of $1,400 have gone into people's bank accounts. That's real money in people's pockets, bringing relief instantly almost. And millions more will be getting their money very soon. One final note.
And so with that, his message was clear. Millions more very soon. Clearly not particularly specific, not how many more millions, not by what route, and how soon is soon. Let's cut, meantime, to those series of exchanges that happened yesterday. There was a series of messages sent between the different offices throughout yesterday. And let's cut to each of those messages and see what the representatives said about these stimulus checks. For federal beneficiaries who did not file a 2019 or 2020 tax return or did not use the non-filer tool, the IRS is working directly with the Social Security Administration, the Railroad Benefits Tool Board, and the Veterans Administration to obtain updated 2021 information to assure as many people possible are sent fast automatic payment. That was Treasury on Wednesday. Now, what's really surprising about this statement is that this distinctly contradicts Treasury's own position in 2020. Treasury's position in 2020 was you did not have to use the non-filer filing tool if you're on benefits. They knew where you were. They specifically said don't use it if you're a veteran, if you're on SSI, if you're on Social Security or Railroad Benefits or SSI or SSDI. Don't use it. The only two cases which you would use it is you have a child that's newly born that we don't know about because you're on benefits and you don't file tax returns, or that you just went on benefits this year. But they specifically said in 2020, don't use the non-filer filing tool if you're just on benefits. We know where you are. So this first statement yesterday may have been sort of the crux of the cause, the beginning of the issue, because now we're starting to see that some of these statements are not consistent with what we heard in 2020. Let's go to the next one. Social Security employees have literally worked day and night with IRS staff to ensure that the electronic files of Social Security and SSI recipients are complete, accurate, and ready to be used and issue payment. This was Social Security Administrator Andrew Saul Thursday. That is this individual. That was his remark Thursday. And then there was more. Representative Bill Parcells on Twitter from New Jersey, Democrat from New Jersey, says, we're demanding answers from the IRS and Social Security Administrator why they're taking so darn long sending out stimulus payments to Social Security, SSI, and VA recipients. This money needs to go out now. This statement was before the turmoil of Thursday and Wednesday. This was earlier, just days earlier. So here he's demanding answers from Treasury as well. The question from Treasury is, why did you say we don't have to use the non-fire filing tool in 2020? And now you're saying, if you didn't do it, we have an issue. And then there's this one. Once we're free to move forward, we aggressively worked with Treasury and IRS to issue payments. Now, this is incredible, great news. This was a new statement obtained by LA Friday today, in which the commissioner said, once we got the information out, we worked aggressively to issue payments. It seems to suggest the tense of the sentence is in past tense. It seems to suggest that he's indicating that the payments have now gone out. Is that in fact true? As that news site said, 30 million people may receive. But if you read this post from Saul, it sounds as though it has already gone out. This is huge, great news. Why is it so important? Because if you look at the calendar, you'll remember what's happened over the last few days. March 14th was the first drop. March 17th was the first drop. St. Patrick's Day. March 24th was the second drop. If there was to be a third drop by direct deposit, it would be this coming Wednesday. And when would be the date in which they would go out? Today. All prior waves went out on Fridays. It went out on Friday before St. Patrick's Day, and it went out Friday before this last Wednesday. How we know if it goes out today, or did went out today, or already has gone out today? We'll likely see it tomorrow. And how we see it? I'll have breaking detail for you in just a second. But coming up is a little bit more, and new video for the White House talking about your stimulus check. Stay with me, but first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues in 90 minutes from now with Hazard. That's a live chat, and I will be in the live chat right then. That's Hazard coming up in 90 minutes after this video. I hope you join me. I'll be looking for you. But if you're in the live chat right now, say hi. I'm in the live chat right now. Say hi back. How are you? And if you see people in the chat you have never met before, say hello to them. Interact with each other. It's part of a family. Say hello to each other so no one feels left out. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. This is a loving family where everyone tries to help each other and get to the finish line. And if you've not liked this video, consider liking this video. Let's try to do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 likes. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The breaking development is really the issue of whether stimulus checks went out today. And how will we know that? I'll have those details in 1 second. But Ford made news today after it announced that it will idle productions of the popular F-150 after it's having a shortage of some parts. Meantime, Microsoft could be buying Discord. Price tag $10 billion. And in a second, I'm going to have a little bit about that filibuster news from Chuck Schumer. Oh boy, it's heating up, the filibuster. And new video from the White House. How would we know if the stimulus check lands tomorrow? IRS.gov tool. Yeah. Last Saturday, viewers saw the IRS.gov tool change on Saturday. This is likely the best indicator of what's going to happen. Let me explain what happened last Saturday. We went into Saturday, we thought, it's another weekend. We're not going to have much updates. It's not, Chuck and Nancy and Mitch and Stevie on broadcast news trashing each other anymore. It's going to be pretty quiet. But it wasn't. No, it's the opposite. One viewer heard from Chase last Saturday that there was going to be a big drop of stimulus checks on the 24th. Another viewer from Wells, who banks at Wells, heard the same thing. There was going to be a big drop in the coming days on March 24th. And then we saw what was going on with the IRS.gov tool. Viewers who had no results on the tool suddenly had a result. And viewers who had a result before had it modified. So what was the result coming up as? It was either coming up as direct deposit March 24th, or it was coming up as mailed check with a date of the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. If this happens again tomorrow, it will be singularly the best indicator that another drop, another wave will be underway the day before, who will have already started on Friday, and that wave will drop this coming Wednesday. It's really exciting, great news. My prediction, I think it's going to happen. I think this drop is going to happen. There was enough coverage of this situation, whether you call it an issue, a debacle, or a problem. There was enough issue of it. I don't think they want to have this sitting around for a couple of weeks. I think they want to get on top of it. Number two, they've been doing waves, and we as viewers have been wondering if there would be more waves far before this issue with Social Security and Treasury. So it sounds like they were going to do another wave anyway. Here's what you need to know is that if you go to that IRS tool tomorrow, Saturday, and you watch me on Mornings LA and say, oh my goodness, the tool has updated itself. Here's what I want you to know is that if it shows a date and mail, that does not mean the check is being mailed out on that day. It doesn't mean you're going to receive the check in the mail that day. What does that mean? It means that's the date in the corner of the check. It means there's a check in the mail and in mail route already, and it has a date in the corner of the check. So what date would you get the check if the IRS tool says March 31st, mail? It means that you would likely get the check on the 29th, the 30th, or the 31st, and the check would come in the mail, and in the corner of the check it would say March 31st. There you are. We have to hope, and I think we have a very strong possibility that a wave of checks could land next week. Meantime, I'll have more about that in a second, but meantime, new video from the White House talking about stimulus. And this is as the president's getting ready for fourth stimulus. But this one's about your stimulus check and the third stimulus. Let's listen to this new video release from the White House.
Crisis. Yes, we need to take care of it. The economic crisis, we need to take care of that too. One of the biggest crises has always been the humanitarian food crisis. Food insecurity is having children, families, elderly, essential workers not having enough food to eat. We have 30 million adults, 12 million children, that they are food insecure. Mothers and fathers, even if they work, they don't have enough money to put the right quality, nutritious amount of food on the table. In this pandemic, I've been in many communities across the country. The forgotten neighborhoods, more often than not, are Latinos, Black Americans, Native Americans, that in this pandemic they've suffered the most because when everything seems we're shutting down, those people were forgotten. That's something we cannot allow.
A wonderful message.
With the initiatives of President Biden, we will make sure everybody has the basic need of food covered. With the American Rescue Plan and the $12 billion that are going towards different programs to fight food insecurity, I know that we will move out of this humanitarian food crisis stronger. The most important thing of the American Rescue Plan is empathy. President Biden right now is going to be making sure that those minorities and every single American that is in need will receive the message of love, of dignity, that food will not be a problem. So you see, that's what the American Rescue Plan is doing. Let's put America at work at the same time that we are feeding America. We don't only fight hunger, but we also create jobs, let the economy grow. We keep moving America forward. So let's make sure that food is what will bring America together. I really admire President Biden for putting American Rescue Plan forward to bring food to every single American.
A wonderful message that really details the importance of food. And food has been really a big battleground, as you've seen, across first, second, third, and will be for fourth stimulus. Personal note from me to you about food is that when this pandemic first hit here in Los Angeles in March of last year, businesses shut down. And some of the restaurants that could have done takeout didn't. They didn't. All they did was collect their PPP money and collected their PPP money and had no takeout for people to eat. So it was very disconcerting at the time to see that restaurants did not feed their communities when the pandemic first hit, but rather kept their doors shut to collect PPP money and could have run takeout during those takeout months. Meantime, what is important to know is that if you're going into the weekend, you need to watch that irs.gov tool each day. Don't look at it too often. Some viewers say if you track it more than 5 times a day, it may lock up. Also use that transcript trick, which I told you about in a separate video a few days ago, where you sign into irs.gov and you track it. Because ultimately, this will be the best indicator for viewers of this channel if this is actually going to happen. Meantime, one of the real big questions is whether the Senate filibuster will in fact get its traction. A new report out today said that there's questions whether Chuck Schumer wants to do the Senate filibuster. What I mean by Senate filibuster is get rid of it or reform it. There has been videos from Elizabeth Warren, the President of the United States, in that same press address you saw yesterday, said he wants to get rid of it. And there's a new series of reports out today. One from Senator Mazie Hirono, a Democrat from Hawaii, says, I think that it's going to mean we're going to have to do a filibuster reform. But then Senator John Tester, Democrat from Montana, says, I don't think Chuck Schumer wants to change the rules, but we don't know. I think Chuck would rather find out a way to make this work together. Some insiders in a lead article on Political Today says that they don't think Chuck Schumer wants to get rid of the filibuster. He's very big about rules, and throwing away rules is not one of his messages. And ironically, the president's message yesterday was mixed message, because he said, I want to get the fourth stimulus done with Republican colleagues, but in the same breath, he says, I want to get rid of the filibuster so I can do what I want. You know, it's two sides of the discussion. So what should you know about the third stimulus going into this weekend? $1,400 third stimulus checks have been delivered to people on benefits, and then some on benefits have not gotten it. People on SSI and SSDI and Social Security and Railroad benefits who file tax returns have gotten it, and people who do file tax returns haven't gotten it. People on SSI and SSDI who don't file tax returns have gotten it, and people who don't file tax returns haven't gotten it. So you see really a mess. But if we look at how big the mess is, I've never seen a mess this large before. I see a large segment of the viewership of this channel not getting stimulus checks. And how large? On Wednesday, when the second wave hit, this channel was doing about 500,000 to 1 million views that day. And I asked viewers over countless videos that day how many got stimulus checks. I took notes during all the live chats, and it looked like about 100 to 200 viewers. 100 to 200 viewers got stimulus checks on the 24th. And of the 500 to 500,000 plus viewers, they did not. Not particularly good numbers. And guess what? Those viewers have still not gotten stimulus checks. So what you need to know is not because of you. It's not because of the entire group. That's where the Representative Neal letter is incorrect. It's not a whole group that has not gotten stimulus checks. And in fact, the group is much larger than Neal. How will we solve the problem for people who are not covered by the Neal request? Hard to say. I'm with you and I'm not leaving you. But I do believe that the people who are not getting stimulus checks far exceed the Neal letter. We're just going to see how things sort of formulate themselves. And my personal opinion is I think this has been a sort of rushed fix. So if it is a rushed fix, the likelihood of another wave in the next week is very high. Finally, I think you know this, but I want to make this very clear to you. It doesn't take a long time to do a direct deposit drop as a wave. Paper checks, mail checks, that's a whole other issue. But if they have bank accounts on file for 20 million of 30 million SSI, SSDI recipients, for example, let's say it's 20 of 30 million, they can do a drop in 1 day. They can do a drop in 2 days. So if we look at today, Friday, and we look to next Wednesday, there's enough days to get that drop done between now and next Wednesday if they process and run sort of a cross check and see who got it and who didn't. Remember, some got it and some didn't get it. Finally, the last message is be kind to your banks. This has not been your bank's fault. It's not the result of any bank, any express this or express that, any bank of this or bank of that. It's not been your fault. They just didn't get it. They did not get your check. Thank you for joining me on a big Evenings Lalate. It has been very exciting. And if I am in the live chat with you, so say hi. Hi, how are you? Also say hello to some people around you in the live chat. Introduce yourself. Look for familiar faces. And guess what? I'm back with you in 90 minutes as Hazard Pay heats up. We're going into the weekend. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot of excitement. So don't leave me. Don't ride out into the sunset. Don't go to the casino all weekend long and miss me because I'm going to miss you. So stay with me all weekend long because last Saturday was the big weekend for news. I don't want you to miss a single minute. And thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Subscribe, like, and consider becoming a member. And thank you for joining me on Evenings Lalate.